Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Price Check Podcast here on In the Zone Network, where we go city to city, state to state, worldwide. We are checking in on the second round of the NBA playoffs today. It's been a crazy playoff so far. First round finished in epic fashion. We had Steph Curry dropping a 50-piece on Sunday to end the Kings. And we also had crazy game ones happen, and for even one series, game two, that we'll get into. So, start this thing off. We have to go back to game one last night as we record this on Tuesday morning, May 2nd. Got to go back to game one last night. Philadelphia 76ers go into Boston, beat the Celtics 119-115. Epic, just vintage performance by James Harden. He puts up 45. 6 assists in the win last night, gets Philly out to a 1-0 lead in that series without Joel Embiid. So not to mention, they're getting this amazing James Harden performance. It's doing it out of necessity, right? So Celtics going into that game, pretty big favorites, knowing that Joel Embiid is not going to play in game one. There's still some doubt whether or not he's going to play in game two. James Harden goes in, silences the noise, silences the crowd. Big performance by him. Big steal by Tyrese Maxey at the end of that game to give Philly the lead. And just some questionable plays being called there late in the game by the Boston Celtics. So I think the big takeaway for me here in game one, even aside from the James Harden performance, and I know this is a little bit touchy subject, but there's just a clear difference to me between this team and this team being Boston. Boston being coached by Ime Udoka and Joe Mazzulla. The defense has not been as staunch with Mazzulla as it was with Ime, and it just doesn't seem like he's as cerebral in terms of some of the play calls, some of the assignments that he's drawing up for his players. And, we saw it time and time again last night. Offensively, they took some tough shots when they really didn't need to, overpassing a lot when they really didn't need to. And defensively, they kept letting James Harden get these switches to get Al Horford or Rob Williams on him, and he was lighting them up. Now, granted, he gave some buckets to Marcus Smart, Derek White, Malcolm Brogdon, too. But all in all, crazy performance from James Harden, just overall not the type of energy or performance that you should come out with in game one if you're Boston, especially when you know Joel Embiid is not playing at all in that game. So what does this mean for the entire series? Philly now in the driver's seat, man, especially if they get Joel Embiid back in game two. You tell me, even just the split, they're in good shape. But if they can go in and win game two on the road, that doesn't look good for the Celtics. And I am definitely somebody who, as y'all know, y'all can see the Lakers shirt on, but not always been a fan of the Celtics. But at the same time, got to give respect where it's due, especially now that the Bucks are gone. They were the front runner in the East to win that conference. And so now you start looking at, okay, you're down 1-0. If you get a healthy Joel or even a healthy Joel Embiid coming back in game two, it gets a little bit dicey for the Celtics. So I don't want to go as far as picking the 76ers to win the series just yet, but it's not just going to be easy going for Boston to go ahead and win this series. This is one that's looking like it could go as many as 6 or 7 games. I probably would pick it to go 7 at this point, especially if we do get Joel Embiid back here in game two. So big thing to keep an eye on in that series. Now, the other series that we saw game two of, Denver versus Phoenix. The Suns were already in trouble after their game one loss. They lost that game 125-107. Jamal Murray goes for 34. Jokic is, putting DeAndre Ayton in a blender. We had the play going around on social media where DeAndre Ayton is like just watching Nikola Jokic kind of tip in the ball, not even trying to go after the rebound. And then we get to game two last night. It's a tight game throughout, but in the third quarter, Chris Paul goes down with a groin injury, does not return to the game. Unsure as of right now what that means for his status, not only for game three, but the rest of the series in whole. But to be honest, might not be much series left Nuggets look like a team that is on a mission. Nikola Jokic looks like a player that is on a mission. I mean, absolute crazy stat line last night: 39 points, 16 rebounds, 5 assists. Absolutely destroying any hope of defense from DeAndre Ayton, Biyombo, anybody. They even put Kevin Durant on him a couple times. That didn't work at all. He was having his way last night. So Jokic looking like a two-time MVP should look in that situation. And so Phoenix, they were already shorthanded as far as from a depth perspective. Now you think about not having Chris Paul. You really didn't have great backup point guard options as it is. Campaign stinking it up last night. You playing guys like Ish Wainwright, Josh Okogie. It already was a pretty, kind of thrown together unit there. Now to not have Chris Paul potentially for a game or even longer, you're already down 2-0. Heads and beds to me. I think it's over with. I think the Suns are done. Put it out on wax now. It may be 5 games, it may be 6 games, but even with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, these guys haven't had bad games here in the first 2, yet they are still losing these games pretty decisively. I don't see a world where the Suns are able to come back in this one. So Nuggets are probably going to go on to the Western Conference Finals, and we will now get game 1 of the series, to see who they're going to potentially face if they are able to make that Western Conference Finals run. We finally got what we've been looking for here, really since the Lakers, or since LeBron James has joined the Lakers. We got LeBron versus Steph, second round, Lakers versus Warriors, game 1 tonight. Steph, by the way, coming off just epic, masterful. There's no real words that truly describe how he handled the Kings in Game 7. 50 points, 7 assists, 7 made threes. Just a crazy game for him. Went out with a bang against Sacramento, put them out in epic fashion in Game 7. A different animal, though, with the Lakers right now. And, of course, not being a homer here, but I do think the Lakers are capable of playing at a much higher level defensively than Sacramento was capable of. Not to mention, you got LeBron James and AD that you got to worry about offensively. You're not going to be able to bully them from a defensive standpoint the way that you were able to bully guys like Domantas Sabonis for the majority of that series. So we saw Kevon Looney have a crazy few games in that series. Had 3 games in which he got 20-plus rebounds. Not sure if that's going to happen when you got to go up with AD, night in, night out. Now, we need AD to be the real AD in this series. Anthony Davis has to really show up if the Lakers are going to have a chance to win. Because he, at the end of the day, he is going to be the X factor of all of this. If he's playing at the, guy that's like 25, 14, 2 or 3 blocks, it's going to be pretty hard for Golden State to be able to beat that. But if he's, 10, 12, 15 points, maybe I get 8 to 10 rebounds, I'm not really bringing it, defensively, that's an opportunity for the Warriors to carve up the Lakers. So I do think this is probably going to be a long series. It's probably going to be 6 or 7 games. I'm going to take the Lakers, but, this is going to be a series of very slim margins for error for both teams, right? The Warriors cannot play games on the road the same way that they did throughout the regular season, even early in that Sacramento series. The Lakers also have to be more effective in the half court on an offense. Now, again, defensively, they've had their times where they've been able to lock teams up and really, crack down on the defensive end and be able to limit teams' capabilities possession after possession. Warriors have kind of shown, some ability to be able to turn it on defensively when they need to as well. But all in all, I think LeBron James knows that this is kind of one of those last opportunities that he's going to have potentially going after a championship. I'm sure Steph Curry feels that as well, but Steph also got a ring last year. And that supporting cast now is still a little bit shaky, even though they played well to end the series against Sacramento. So I'm taking the Lakers in 6. Hopefully my team does not prove me wrong here. So I think LeBron is going to have a vintage LeBron series. I think Steph is going to be, vintage Steph mode as well. He's been, going crazy all playoffs. But I do think if the Lakers are smart about their game plan, It's going to be a lot of giving Anthony Davis the ball on offense and allowing him to be able to pick his spots to take over, but also making sure to shut down the others on defense when it comes to Golden State and how they want to get other guys involved. Steph kind of put the team on his back on Sunday. If you can force him to try to do that for an entire 7-game series, I think that might work in the Lakers' favor a little bit. So Lakers in 6 is the prediction. Lakers-Nuggets Western Conference Finals looking real enticing right now, and a series that I think is going to be a lot more even than people would think if we were able to get it. So now, of course, you got Heat-Knicks game 2 tonight as well. Some injury concerns on both sides of that one. You had Jimmy Butler rolling his ankle pretty hard in game 1, still able to finish the game. Obviously, he took game 1 in a win there, 108 to 101, 7-point victory for them on Sunday. Jimmy Butler, playoff Hemi, as we've been calling him throughout this postseason. Epic performance getting the Bucks out of there. We'll save that for next show. We're going to talk about Giannis's comments post-game after that one. Dive into that a little bit. But you got injury concerns with Jimmy. Apparently you also have injury concerns with Jalen Brunson and the Knicks, who are already missing Julius Randle for game 1. We have not gotten word just yet on whether or not he's going to be available for game 2. But news that I expect that we'll get here at some point today. So keep an eye on that one. I do think the Heat win that series, but that's also one I can see going 6 or 7 games. The Knicks didn't really play their best game in game 1, obviously missing Julius Randle anyway, but didn't play their best game in game 1. I do think, though, the Heat are a team that can be beaten by a team like New York, who plays physical, plays hard, the same style that Miami does. So think that one goes 6 or 7. I'm still going to take the Heat again. I think Jimmy's just on a different level right now, but I do see that being a long series. It's going to give us, old school playoff vibes, man. Physicality, a little bit lower scoring, which obviously may not be as fun for everybody, but basketball fans like myself, we can appreciate a little bit of a throwback series. So, lot to still look ahead to, man. The playoffs are starting to wind down. We obviously are now into the second round in full effect. We'll continue to check in on these matchups as the series carry on. But until next time, ladies and gentlemen, this is Price Check Podcast. I am your host, Josh Price. Like, share, subscribe, all of the above, both Price Check YouTube channel as well as In the Zone Network YouTube channel. And until next time, baby, check it out.